Without warning, a blurry photo changed the atmosphere of the global fandom in one breath. Jungkook, the megastar who has been shining brightly amidst the hustle and bustle of the South Korean entertainment industry, was caught on camera walking side by side with a stranger in an unknown small town, far from the media spotlight. No announcement, no official schedule. Just silence and one big question that immediately exploded online. Who is that man not wearing a stage outfit, not carrying staff or entourage? Jungkook looked like someone who was stepping aside from the world. The man with him, his face partially covered by a hat, was walking not behind like a staff member, but beside him, equal, as calm as the evening air. That moment didn't speak with words, but with an aura strong enough to make the hearts of ARMY, BTS loyal fans, beat faster. There was something there, something that couldn't be explained yet felt deeply. Speculation arose, from alleged secret collaborators, spiritual mentors, to possible old friends. But one name eventually surfaced with a conviction that surprised many: Alejandro Rivera, an independent visual artist from Latin America who has been known not for fame, but for his sincerity in capturing the deepest aspects of humanity. He's not an ordinary filmmaker. He seeks souls, not images. And at this point, Jungkook and Alejandro's paths intersected, a meeting that wasn't just a collaboration, but more like a joint search for a truth greater than feigned. ARMY gradually understood. That blurry photo wasn't just a random street portrait. It was tangible evidence that Jungkook was walking through the most personal phase of his life. More than just a break or a hidden project, this is the silent dedication of an artist to himself. An attempt to delve into who he is without the spotlight, without the cheers of the audience, without the expectations of the world. And behind this journey, there is one figure who is said to understand him more than anyone else: Bang Si-hyuk, the founder of HYB. Internal sources say that Bang Si-hyuk silently gave his blessing to this journey. Not in the form of contracts or official statements, but in the form of trust, that sometimes even the best artists must rediscover their souls in silence. And who understands that need better than Bang Si-hyuk himself, who has seen Jungkook grow from a shy teenager into a global symbol, not just a blessing, but also support in the simplest form, not hindering. Even when many people urged for an explanation, when the media asked for exclusive interviews, Bang Si-hyuk remained silent. Because he knew sincerity doesn't need to be publicized. It just needs to be trusted. In a brief interview with independent art media, Alejandro Rivera once said, "Sometimes someone comes not to be a character, but to let go of the character they've been playing." That sentence now echoes in the minds of many ARMY, who are slowly beginning to see that Alejandro's presence wasn't just a project, but a healing. This isn't a documentary. There's no script. There's no role. Just a camera capturing silence, small laughter, tears without background music. This project, according to leaks circulating in the art community, is a film that may never be released. But not because the project failed. It's because its content is too honest to be packaged as ordinary entertainment. ARMY, who have patiently followed this emotional journey, now realize that they are not waiting for an album or a single. They are waiting for peace. They are waiting for the return. And when finally a 4-minute video appeared without a teaser, without a countdown, just with the opening sentence, for those who have been waiting, this is not music. This is the heart. The whole world fell silent. The video shows Jungkook sitting alone on the floor of an empty room, the wind blowing the curtains, and his bowed head looking tired yet peaceful. There are no words for almost a minute, until finally he speaks. "I didn't leave because I was lost, but because I wanted to know who I am without the stage." And in those sentences, ARMY cried. Not because they were sad, but because they were relieved. Because finally, they knew. Jungkook wasn't alone. He wasn't lost. He was searching, and he was almost there. Not with fanfare, but with a calmer breath. Support from fellow BTS members also flowed. Jimin posted an old photo of Jungkook sleeping on the couch, surrounded by the members. His caption was just one dove emoji. RM wrote a short poem. He returns with the wind, not with sound, but with feeling. V uploaded a piano clip, without a title, without lyrics, just notes that felt like a hug from afar. And Gene, in his usual style, wrote, "If he wants to talk, we listen. If he wants to be quiet, we keep his place." All of this is not a strategy, not a promotion. This is a family welcoming back one of its members who has gone too far to heal himself. And who exactly is the mysterious man beside Jungkook? Maybe we'll never know for sure. Maybe Alejandro is just a symbol of something bigger. Maybe he's a witness to Jungkook's inner journey, or even a reflection of the part of Jungkook that has been hidden all this time. But the most important thing is not who he is, but what he represents. The courage to accompany someone in silence, not in fame. The sincerity to be present without interfering. And love, in its purest form, which doesn't demand explanation, just says, "I'm here." And now, when the world asks, what is the meaning of all this? The real answer may be simple, that even a star as bright as Jungkook needs space to be an ordinary human. And ARMY, in their deepest sincerity, have shown that true love doesn't need cheers. It's enough to be present, in silence, in prayer, in loyalty. However, behind the flood of tears of joy and the wave of love from ARMY, there is one important question that we should not ignore. Is all of this really real? Or are we witnessing a carefully crafted narrative, perhaps even intentionally, designed to evoke emotions and generate global media attention? The blurry photo that became the center of attention, the silent 4-minute video, and the quote from Alejandro Rivera, who is either real or just part of a constructed story, all make us wonder. Are we seeing a portrait of the honesty of an artist tired of the world's expectations? Or are we being carried away by a wave of sensationalism designed very neatly? Let's look back at the source of this narrative. Information spreading very quickly comes from various channels: TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, to articles appearing on international fanbase websites. But how much of it is actually verified? Who first spread the name Alejandro Rivera? Does he really exist? Or is he just a name attached to give emotional meaning to an empty narrative? And what about the silent video that is said to have been uploaded by Big Hit without announcement? Is there any official documentation? Or is the video just a fan-made work packaged very well and successfully fooled thousands, even millions of viewers? These are the questions we need to ask, and should continue to ask, whenever our emotions are drawn so deeply by a story that is too perfect to be true. Is it possible that this whole story is just a new form of very subtle marketing strategy? A strategy that no longer sells music, but sells emotions. If it is true that this story is just a hoax or a marketing scenario, then we are witnessing a new form of digital drama, where the line between fact and fiction becomes very thin, almost invisible. But if this story is real, then we are witnessing the most human moment of a public figure who dared to let go of the glitter just to find himself again. The question is, how do we tell the difference? It's time for us as an audience to not only be passive consumers of the flow of information, but to become part of a critical community. Why are we so easily convinced? Why do we believe every narrative that touches us directly without asking, without tracing? Stop for a moment and ask yourself, is this news source credible? Who benefits most from the spread of this story? Is there any real evidence or just an emotional narrative formed from pieces of visuals and wild interpretations? If this is a veiled promotional strategy, are we being emotionally exploited? If this is in fact, are we ready to accept that we've been driven by an illusion? In today's digital world, where likes, shares, and engagement are the new currency, we are all targets. We're given the stories we want to believe, not because they are true, but because they feel true. We're not saying this story is definitely a lie. We're also not saying that all of this is just a fabrication. But we want to encourage you, yes, you who are reading this now, to think deeper. Why are we so easily convinced? Maybe because we want to believe. Because we long for honesty in a world that is becoming increasingly artificial. Because we want to know that our idols are also ordinary humans who feel tired, need space, and want to go home. But belief must go hand in hand with healthy skepticism. We compiled this article based on information circulating on various platforms: TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and some other community media. However, we are aware the truth has not been fully verified. And that's why we don't want you to stop here. We encourage you to think, analyze,
Trace. Ask.
and most importantly, don't take anything viral for granted without reflection. Finally, we would like to close with one question that you can discuss among fellow ARMY, or even within yourself. Is the story of Jungkook and the mysterious man a portrait of an artist's honesty, or a reflection of how easily we believe beautiful illusions? Think,
Feel.
but don't stop asking. Because truth doesn't always come in a beautiful form. Sometimes it arises from the courage to question everything that feels too perfect.
Ta